we are joined by a pound stretcher Joe Rogan in the shape of... We okay?
I've got Gimli from Wish over here calling me a pound stretcher Joe Rogan. That's no good.
This is going to be a spicy one.
Woo!
Tell us, mate, how the hell does one get into comedy?
Do you know what? By accident, you got to find out who you are on stage, what makes you laugh, and how you can be the most natural form of you or the most extreme form of you. And it's kind of, it's so personal. But I'm squeamish. That is weird.
Yeah.
I'm terrible with blood. My kid, we went up, I think it was her birthday. It was her 7th birthday. And we got her a new scooter. So she was scooting around doing all that stuff. And again, she just fell off it. And she just sort of grazed her face, bumped her lip, grazed her knee, that sort of thing. I had to turn around and look at my wife and go, you got to do this. You got to do this. Yeah.
We can't cut this.
I don't think that's that bad.
No, we do miss her though. We do miss her.
Hi, I'm Adam.
And I'm Josh.
And welcome back to the Breaking Bread podcast, where this week we have a man called Bryan. Which is, what's that, George? What was I going for? Come on, say it. Oh, fuck's sake, man. I was doing Alex Turner from Arctic Monkeys, you know, Brian Storm, the song.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, yeah. Shut the fuck up, beard.
This week, in short, we are joined by a pound stretcher Joe Rogan in the shape of...
That's how we're starting.
He said that was going to be okay.
We're starting.
He said that was going to be okay.
I've got Gimli from Wish over here calling me a pound stretcher Joe Rogan. That's no good.
This is going to be a spicy one.
Woo!
Yeah, we're joined by Bryan Lacey. Grace is with his presence. How are you doing today, Bryan? It's nice to meet you. Let's button that.
That was going to be, it's my left hand. That's you good.
You picked a good side to be on there. Mate, thanks for coming down.
It's coming up, actually.
Well,
that's right.
up.
From south to the glorious north. It's good to be back, mate.
Where did you come from?
So Hampshire, down near Farnborough, that way.
Sounds nice. Not a big fan of the South
nice.
in general,
That's not that nice.
The rural areas of the South generally are all right. I just don't like London. Well, we've covered that.
We'll quickly introduce who Bryan is to the audience. Bryan is a comedian, professional TV presenter-ish, and an MMA commentator. Yeah, I'd say that's like a well-rounded...
Yes, yeah. A Swiss Army knife of camera-based action.
That's a little bit of background. Bryan and I have worked together a bunch of times, haven't we, on a few different little bits of...
Oh, you poor man, Bryan. You poor man.
We know each other from the MMA scene, so I'm excited to sort of get into this with you, Bryan.
It's always great on my phone when the name Josh Goodgeon pops up, because you never know what you're going to get offered.
Tell you what,
never know what's going to happen.
One step up on me because he's not even saved in my phone. I just get the number. I'm like, who the fuck is that? Like, Mrs. Beard answers.
Oh my god, that's no joke. Actually, I ring him and like Lindsay will answer and she's like, "Hello," and I'm like, "What the fuck?" I'm like, "Where's Adam?" And it's like, "It's my secretary."
But I get it, because I listened to the movie episode on the drive up here today, and you two are so incompatible. There's absolutely no reason you should be in the same room, let alone breathing the same air, talking about the same films.
That's true, that actually, isn't it?
Jackass is one of your top 10 films ever.
What, do you like it?
I love it, but I would never class it as a film, and I'd never put it up there with the likes of some of the great movie greats.
Bryan, you put yourself out there on a podcast, don't you? You open yourself up to an audience.
He's going to cry in a minute.
I'm just telling you, this is like from the heart. I enjoy that shit. Do you know what I mean?
From the heart.
The best comment was where they said that Adam is an old man in a young man's... What was
an old man in a child's body, and Josh is a child in an old man's body.
And given his stature, he looks like he's a child as well. But we'll start off again with the YouTube comment segment. So can we roll the jingle?
It's time for a YouTube comment from you.
All right, so in the spirit of that episode that you just referenced, we actually got a pretty good comment off the back of it. We had nothing but positive comments, to be fair. And again, off that one, Sam Macari said, "This was not the episode to watch while chopping onions. I was crying laughing, tears of fire." So
that's a lyric from a song or something, isn't it?
Do people still you can buy chopped onions now, Sam? Do you know that? I saw some in the... I don't know, Waitrose, wherever I shopped. No, I don't shop at Waitrose. In Tesco, I saw some the other day. Chopped, pre-chopped. Seems a bit pointless, but you can get them.
Did you see him roll his eyes about Waitrose? Like he's still trying to be a man of the people. When I drive to
Waitrose, pre-chopped. That's hilarious. That's great.
You know, there's no Waitrose within 20 miles of me.
Right, so we've obviously listed your in sort of 3 words there. You're a comedian, presenter, and an MMA commentator, but you're also a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu blue belt.
That's right.
Oh, not only you guys can have a dick measuring contest. Go and get them out.
Get it out. Put it on the table. So I want to ask the first question. This is not about your career, but did you see that Tom Hardy, Bane, the actual Tom Hardy, competed this weekend in jiu-jitsu.
I didn't know. I've seen him train. I know he's trained with a few people.
He is probably a similar age to you. I'd say a similar weight class.
Okay. Oh, this is what we call him
Right.
now.
So this could have been your opportunity to take on Bane, be the real life Batman, and show him what for.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I heard that he did quite well at this. Not that I'm saying your skills are not equal, but I heard he did quite well at the contest.
What did he do?
He got fucking double gold.
You're joking.
Honestly, mate, he smashed everyone to pieces.
Oh, mate, no chance.
Could you imagine stepping onto the mats and you've got fucking Bane looking at you? Bronson with his dick out.
Lad,
That's like you in the morning.
Come on, George says I'm the crazy frog. Make your mind up. That would be like. I mean, I can't do BJJ at any belt level. Do you get white by default?
Yeah.
I'm a white belt then.
There you go.
Yeah.
But that would actually be ideal for me because Mrs. Beard's love of Tom Hardy is sickening.
Yeah.
So if I were to face off with him, that would be. I think I'm not a violent man, but if anything is going to stoke it up in me, the sight of Tom Hardy across, I'd be like, yeah, I know you've been in Warrior, mate. I saw it. But I'd get fucking.
Could you imagine?
Pencil probably.
Yeah, you definitely would.
But could you imagine when you get home, Mrs. Beard just going, don't shower. Don't shower. Stay exactly as you are and come upstairs. Just lay still. Let me just smell you for a bit. Come here.
Yeah, I don't need to. That's how it would go, I think.
So yeah, you need to get on Instagram or TikTok and then have a look.
Call out.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's great though, right? You see all these people. Russell Brand's training jiu-jitsu now. So he's blue belt.
Who's the guy from that 70s show? Ashton Kutcher. He's a brown belt or a black belt now.
Crazy. It's great.
I've still got a real issue with brown belt. They could have had you know what I mean? That's a shit colour, isn't it? Why? For a belt, it's just like nobody has brown belts today. You know what I mean? Like especially against like a white gi. You know, maybe if it was a whole outfit, like if you had like a, I don't know, kind of like an earthy coloured gi and you were going for that effect. It's called the gi, right? The suit?
Yeah,
Yes.
right.
The pajamas.
I'm on it. Yeah. But like it just looks a bit naff. Like black looks intimidating. Even red. Is there a red belt?
No, the coral belt. There's a coral belt
Somebody needs
afterwards.
to have a word, right? So let's retire the brown belt. Red instead, like a crimson red. That's my 2 pence. Anyway. I just got an issue with it.
The journey of the belt is supposed to be from white to black. So it says you wear your white belt till it turns black. So it goes through the stages. But I do get what you're saying. When you say I'm a brown belt, it's...
I suppose brown's a close. Grey belt, maybe? Could do. That sounds like some kind of part of rural land that you can't touch to develop on, doesn't it? Grey belts. Don't give me a pity laugh, just 'cause you're a comedian.
Speaking of comedian then, Brian, come on. Tell us, mate, how the hell does one get into comedy?
Do you know what? By accident.
Yeah.
That is totally the way it happened with me. I did a job for about 5 years, which I just did it. Just earned lots of money. Just did it. Woke up every day and just did this sales job. Earned lots of money, and then one day I kind of went, I don't want to do this anymore. So I just stopped, saved up enough money, and I gave myself sort of 6 months to think, what do I want to do next? And during those 6 months, I lived in London, and there's loads of open mic nights. So I thought I'd just try watching a few, go out on my own, and then bit by bit I was like, I can have a little go at this, and then they start paying you money stupidly. So yeah, it was kind of by accident. Same with the commentary, it's all a hobby. Just started it as a little passion project, and it turned into a job. 18 years now I've been doing it. Yeah.
So did you not do any sort of like formal training? Like you didn't go to like drama school or like stage school or?
I did acting, so I did that beforehand. I think, all right.
No, but like it makes sense.
A sneaky route back.
No, it makes sense. Like to go from like just being a salesperson into like comedy, that's drastic. If you've
it's
done
a big jump.
If you've done nothing in the past.
Yeah.
Was acting like what was that, like a college thing, like an earlier age? Basically?
Yeah, degree basically. Yeah, did at college, then I went to university and came out, and the only parts I'd get were musicals. So I was on stage singing.
Fail to see the problem. That would be amazing.
No, my God! But I was stood up there once. I did a rock and roll musical where I played Ricky Nelson, the guy who sang "Hello, Mary Lou."
Yeah.
Yeah, and he died in a tragic plane crash. He was doing a lot of cocaine in the plane at the time.
Was he flying the plane?
Well, he was feeding the pilot some of the stuff. I was doing this thing, and it was in front of 3,500 people, and they were on their feet, they were going crazy. And I remember just being up there, and they said, like, a real moment where I kind of went, I'm not supposed to be here. Somebody else that would really like to do this should be here. So I finished that tour, and I never did it again. So
whoa, I thought you were going to say like, you'd performed 3,500 people all cheering.
No, I saw everyone having a great time. I saw everybody around me having the most amazing, and they wanted to be there. Like, this was their dream.
Yeah.
On a big theatre, 3,500 people going crazy in the finale, and I was like, somebody else should be doing this. And that was kind of me. And so I stepped away and I stopped doing
That's
it.
some ballsy move, that, isn't it?
Yeah,
Well, I guess if you don't know, you don't know, right?
I moved straight back home and Mum hated it. That was
So how old are you at this point?
I would have been about 25, 26 years old. So yeah. So and then did the maybe even a bit younger. Just in fact, straight out of drama school. So 23, 24. Yeah, and then it was a case, did the sales job, and it just gave me money.
Yeah.
It was great, just did it. And then all of a sudden I was like, I don't want to wake up in a travel lodge not knowing which city I'm in or selling training anymore. So took the leap, moved back to London, loved it, had an amazing time. And then 6 months after that, I'd started doing the comedy. So yeah.
Not that we have anything against travel lodges, just to be honest.
They were great. They're they're perfect for what they are. But
I
when
lost my virginity in a travel lodge, so I've got kind of a soft spot for them.
Oh yeah, do you have to pay by the hour then at that point? Because you'd have had a quick deal.
No, I mean,
then,
I don't know. I just paid for a night. I don't think you could do it hourly. I wouldn't be there long. If I could have paid by the minute, I'd have been great. You know, in and out.
That's what I'm saying, man. So tell us about you losing your virginity. Like, this just took a turn on this podcast.
No. This ain't my podcast. We'll save it for a different time.
how do we move from that? How do we move back to me? You
Reckon no on that. Brian, so tell us about when you lost your virginity.
I was in a travel lodge with a hairy man.
What's to mention that?
I remember carrying him home on my back.
So comedy, what about comedy?
Yeah.
Living in London.
So just got into it, and it was because all my other mates obviously still had jobs and stuff, so they were doing that, and I'd go out and I just fell in love with it. It's one of the craziest things, and it's everyone says it must be scary getting up there in front of strangers each time, but the strangers are fine for me. That's great. It's when people you know are in the crowd. That's when I could be in front of 1,000 people, and if I know one person. Yeah. And that's the bit that I think about. There's a great picture. Damien Clark is a comedian. Does a whole picture where there's a whole audience laughing, and then he blacks out all the laughing people, and there's one person at the back not laughing, and that's the guy the comedian sees. That's the only. That's
like your YouTube section, isn't it? Your comment section.
Well, I heard it's a tangent. It's not really that interesting, but I heard a lot of musicians, that started back in the day, like session musicians, would hate to play gigs because all the musicians would hang out the same places, so they'd be all right if there were no other musicians that they knew. Yes. But if they saw another session musician they'd recorded an album with or like done a gig with, they'd be like fucking, shitting themselves. So I guess it's kind of the same for comedians. I kind of get that.
Yeah, similar.
How do you start sort of like building a set then? So like, is it observational comedy? Like, do you go and watch people and see how they play it, and then you start figuring out what you can talk about?
Again, it's one of those things where you got to put in the work, right? You got to find out, and you got to find out who you are on stage, what makes you laugh, and how you can be the most natural form of you or the most extreme form of you. And it's so personal. It's such and that's why everyone is subjective. That's why everyone's got different types of comedians that they like or that they're drawn towards. Or you go up to Edinburgh, which is happening at the minute, and there's thousands of comics, hundreds of shows, all different types of comedy, all different types of people, and that's the journey. And it's some people get it really early. Some people will click and they'll find out who they are and what they want to be and the type of stuff they want to talk about. Others like me, I struggled. I tried to be like a Billy Connolly to start with. I tried to be cheeky, and that was the comic that I used to watch when I was a kid. That's what I kind of liked, those stories, and it didn't quite fit me. Then I tried to be serious and try and make points like Bill Hicks, and I was like, that's not coming out of my mouth. And then you kind of fall into it. And for me, it was a long time for me to kind of find who I was. And a lot of my stuff is loose. It's like I can talk to the audience. I'll do a show, and by the end of it, I can write a song about some of the people in the crowd, and I'll play it, and it blows their mind because they've got no idea how you do it. Sometimes I don't know what I'm going to say next, but you play it, and it all kind of fits, and you have this magical moment. And the great thing about comedy, especially whether you're doing a small club or you're doing a stage or a world tour or whatever, an arena, it only happens that night.
Yeah.
Only happens. Even the DVDs you see in the specials, they're cut up over 2 or 3 shows. It's not the same. So it just disappears into the ether. So you'll be driving home after a crazy night in wherever, Rotherham, Newcastle, Doncaster, all the good spots.
Nobody's had a crazy night in Rotherham, surely, apart from the Chuckle Brothers, maybe.
And then you get in your car. It's mad because it's just finished, and it's a weird thing because it's a rock and roll life. You kind of think you walk on stage, it goes crazy, but then you got like a 3-hour drive home on your own. I absolutely love it, and it's one of those things that you do, and it's addictive.
It's got to be one of the bravest forms of art to be able to do that. Because obviously, if you go on stage with a band, you've got songs or whatever that people would recognize and know, and they can get behind you. You're going on there, and it's you and a microphone, and you're saying a prayer, like you
Just chuck it. But that's the beauty of it, because on comedy nights that you can have comics that are there that have sold out arenas, that have got the big names, and they could be on with a brand new comic. But on that night, anyone could be the best on the night. It depends what mood the audience in. It can depend what has happened in that day.
Yeah.
It can depend on how it starts, or the first couple of words you say. It can depend on how you look sometimes as well. There's some people that go on stage who might be a bit like posher, and when they're up north or something, I know that they take a pint on with them, even though they wouldn't usually drink on stage, just so that they go, right, I'm having a pint, I'm drinking with you, so it kind of changes it. So there's tricks and all that sort of stuff, but the beauty and beast of comedy is that it's brutal. It is absolute. You are like, sometimes you're riding this wave, you're in complete control, and other times you are fighting fires left, right, and centre.
What's that like then? Like, what's it like on stage when it all goes wrong?
Horrible. It is like time slows down. It's exactly like you could imagine. You're looking at the clock, and the worst ones are corporates. Like, it comes around to Christmas, and it's a Christmas party that's been booked by one guy who thought this would be a good idea, in a room that's not right for comedy whatsoever, with people that could not give two shits about who's on stage or what you got to say. They just want to drink the free drink. They want to eat the free food. They don't want to spend their evening with the people they spend their days working with, and then they just want to piss off into the night and disappear off. So you literally get up there, you say a prayer, and then you watch the clock. You just got to wait till it goes to your allotted contracted time, and then you go,
God.
Good night. And it's horrific to be considered that small of a being, that people really do not give a shit about you.
That must be. I mean, it's interesting that you go to that as like a story for like the kind of worst, maybe not worst case now, but that's what you kind of feel. Because I would have thought like the worst. I bet it's quite fun. You could correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's probably quite fun if you get like a heckler or something. So like, somebody's being critical of you, because I guess in that's kind of right material for you, because comedians are typically smarter than the average. I don't want to say it, but smarter than the average person, right? So if you get a heckler, this person on stage is a professional comedian.
Yeah.
So they're going to be able to take you apart. You're going to look at it, right? So I don't imagine hecklers are that big of a deal.
Go on, carry on.
No, you interject. What I was thinking is, I think probably the worst part for me, if I ever did it, I would hate to. I wouldn't mind hecklers. I'd hate to like tell a joke that I thought was super funny, and no fucking laughs. That would be like, I'd be like, oh my god, this is right. And that must happen. Or maybe fewer people than you think laugh.
Do you know? There's horror stories all over the like myths and legends all over the comedy circuit about certain heckles and things like that. Now, first of all, to talk to you about the heckling, everyone thinks that's one of the worst bits. But as a comedian, there's two things that will happen: either that person, man or woman, or child, has been an absolute dick throughout the whole show. So everyone's against them.
Yeah.
So whatever you do, whatever you say, you've got an army behind you, and you've got lines, you've got stuff, and you are going to be quicker than a pissed up, coked up knobhead. But the other side of it is, sometimes you get these glorious heckles, and they just drop in at exactly the right moment. And again, it's that moment, and you just got to embrace them, and they add to the show. And again, if you're somebody and I've never been like this, it's like if you're somebody where something like that happens and you try and push it out of everyone's sight, like, nah, get back looking at me, try and be greedy with what's they'll just turn against you. Whereas if you just embrace it, I've had some of the best moments. I've been set to do 20, 30 minutes, and something's happened, and then that's been the show. Yeah. That has been the show for the entire thing. Or you can keep going back to it, or you'll be listening to the comedian next to you, and they'll go to it as well. But heckles they're not as scary when you're up on stage as you would think before you start out. But there's one that I remember. I can't remember I think it was Joe Bohr. He was on stage, and if I've given that the wrong credit, I apologise. But he was doing a gig, and again, in England, comedy is everywhere. So it could be a back room of a pub, it could be a conference hall in a hotel, it could be literally a tent out the back somewhere. And they were doing one first night in this new pub that got new managers, and they decided to interject the midweek, so like a Wednesday night with a comedy night. So they all go on, and it's hard when the room's wrong, and it's so easy to get comedy right, but it's so easy to get it wrong. You need a good microphone, good lighting, and the audience just in the right place. If there's pillars and posts and people serving food over you, or the microphone, I remember this guy proudly said to me, he said, first night, he gave me the mic, he went, "Oh, car boot sale at £1.29. And all the comments like, we're all going to die here tonight. But this was a new night in somewhere in the southwest, and they'd put this on. and I believe it was Joe on, and he's a good comic, and it was struggling. He was struggling, and there's that silence, and you've still got 15 minutes to go. Nothing, no laughter, no warmth, no sort of, this is going to be a great evening. And then at the back, just a guy leant against the bar. You could audibly hear him just breathe and speak over to the barman going, used to be a pool table over there. Like the pure romance in his voice, that the stage was now held by some guy he didn't want to listen to, and he could have been putting his quid on the table waiting for a next winner takes all.
I feel like that. I'd have to laugh. You've been to a wedding and like the best man or the bride's dad's doing a speech and it's just super wank.
Yeah.
Like I'm always the guy that pity laughs there. Like I remember like I went to one of my friends' weddings, right, and her dad was the father of the bride was doing a speech, right. And I don't want to do the voice. He was South African, right? But he did the "What a great wedding, even the cake's in tears" gag, which must be like the first. If you Google jokes to tell at a wedding, that must be the first one. And I thought he audibly paused as well. It wasn't like a circumstance. He just kind of went on. He was waiting for the laugh, and I was like, that's a good one. I'm thinking like, get out of the way because I just didn't want him to feel so bad. I'm thinking it must be hard to get up there because I know people that they say that. Because it's a type of public speaking, isn't it, right? Yeah. Comedy, that people are more afraid of public speaking than actual death. Like people would rather die almost than publicly speak. Seriously, yeah. Wow. So, I'd have to laugh.
I'm same as you though at weddings and whatnot. Like, but I'll laugh like I do now, and it'll echo through the room. And I've got Danielle hitting me. She's like, shut up. I'm like, especially like if it's an inappropriate joke. I'm like, and everybody's like, oh fuck. But yeah, can you recall of any like absolute tram smash shows that you've done where it just didn't go right? Like, is there any that stand out in your career that it's the worst? You want to crawl inside, run off,
God,
cut it short.
Oh my God. Do you know what? And for doing it 18 years now, I've got so many.
Right. Okay.
And that's the truth. And it's like comics that tell you, I don't die or that's the phrase some use, I'm bulletproof.
Right.
It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. But there's so many, I can picture actual faces. I remember the people just staring. I can see the front row of some of the gigs. Just terrific ones. There was one I did, and again, it's when it's attached to something else. So there was the Four Nations, the rugby going on, and they decided to put a comedy night on in the rugby club after the Four Nations. Now you've got the most horrific sort of pissed audience already. They're already the funniest guys. It's rugby players. They're the funniest guys in their change room. So you're stepping on there trying to be funny as well, and you're just not going to beat that. You've got no chance. So again, it's going through. I did one in Bahrain where this was weird, especially because it was to the army, different force of the army, and the American army out there, they've got a curfew. So they have to be out by 10 o'clock. So basically it's not a curfew, it's a finish line for the amount that they can drink up there. And in the end, we had three comics on tour going around those sort of regions. So Dubai, Bahrain. And we got up there and it was impossible, absolutely impossible. So in the end, and you might have been proud of me, I ended up just challenging them to drinking contests at the end. And I said, right, I've 4 years off the wagon, but let's do it this tonight, let's go. And then it just became like a conveyor belt of different shots that they were bringing to me. But I stayed up there, I did every drink that and by the end, even though they hated me to start with, by the end, they went absolutely mental when I did. And the bell rang for 10 o'clock and the room emptied like that because they all have to be back on base in their dorms by 10:30. So I had this mad thing of going to battle with all these soldiers, necking these drinks like head to head, drinking these things, and then all of a sudden they'd just disappeared. And I was like, what the fuck is this? And then I died in my hotel room.
Man, that's some wild stories. That's rock and roll.
That's not as rock and roll as some other comedians. I am so vanilla compared to some other comics. Oh my God.
Do you have a favourite comedian yourself? Because I know you must get like, I know you said Billy Connolly, but do you have any like maybe, am I treading on your toes here?
No, you're good.
No? But that's in your notes.
That's next on the list.
Is it? I fucking know you, man. I was just going to say, do you have any like people now maybe that are active now that you like, or other people other than Billy Connolly maybe some of the TikTok generation might know, I don't know.
So there's comics that I've come up with, comics that I've done stuff that I've seen them, like Ramesh Ranganathan. So he's huge now. He's absolutely massive.
Just a question of sport. A League of Their Own.
League of Their Own.
Yeah.
There's all that sort of stuff. But I did. I think he started just after me, which is annoying because he's rich now. But I remember he used to be driving around in this really clapped out Iago, going all the way around, and he used to be support for Sean Walsh, and he'd do all these little gigs. I did an Edinburgh run with him, so we did a show like a mixed bill, me, Ramesh, a couple of other people. And after that Edinburgh, he went absolute stratospheric. But when you see the work he puts in, when you see exactly how much effort, and this is the same. This is when I know I'll always be like a good comic. I know that I can go up there and I can have fun and I'll be good. But there's a difference, and it's like the work he puts in, the detail that he'll pull out of a joke, and it'll be a look or a pause or something like that. And that for me, it makes me happy. I'm someone that celebrates other people's. It's a very bitter place, this circuit as well, because everybody's thinking, oh, why did they get that opportunity? Or that's because they're with that agent. But for me, seeing him coming from a school teacher, dropping that job and sacrificing it, and his missus saying, yeah, this is what you're supposed to do, to now being on big TV shows, selling out arena tours. And then when you see the work he puts into his material, you're like, that's why it is, that's the sort of comic that I like to watch, Rise.
Sounds like YouTube, that, you know.
Well, yes, but in the
Sorry, that's where I had a brain fart then. I don't know. Who's your favourite comic? Don't you dare say Johnny Knoxville, I swear to God.
So I went to see Bert Kreischer in Manchester.
Nice.
He's one of Rogan's crew, like one of his mates. You know, like he's part of that crowd, and he went on tour. He's got a story called The Machine, where when he was in school, like in college, they sent him to like Russia, and he ended up drinking and partying with the Russian mafia on this train, and how he got nicknamed The Machine, and that's like his like hero
He's
story.
One of the only comics that they like. You were talking about the music thing. Like you'll always ask for the greatest hits of a band. You'll always ask for the favorite song. He's one of the only comics that they demand that he does this. And it's about a 10-minute bit as well, so it's not short. And it's he told it on Rogan first, and Rogan said you should make that a bit. Yeah. And then it's become this epic thing, which is now his signature. But people ask for it. They know where it all happens, but they want it. I think he's got 3 versions of that story. So he's got, like, depending on how much time he's got 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. And it's all the same story, but just in varying degrees of detail. But he went on tour with a guy called Mark Normand. Okay. So again, one of Rogan, and he was better than Bert. Yeah. So he was the warm-up act. And I knew of him because I'd followed Joe Rogan, and I knew of the little circle, and he came on, and he's got really dry humor, like, and just the pauses in the right place. And he doesn't show any emotion on stage, and he is just like unreal as a comedian. Amazing. And he for me, were way better than Bert, like considerably better than Bert, which I think that sort of, I think you'll probably see that. I guess it takes years for him to develop, but he's up there now. He's on Rogan often. That's the path. You kind of go under another comic and then you'll come through. Sorry, is it raining?
Sounds like it, yeah.
Fuck, I thought I was losing my shit, man.
Yeah, sorry if you're listening.
Crackling. It's all right, mate. Give me that ASMR thing. It's cool. I just thought I was going mad.
Sorry to move studios.
I rustle when I get excited.
I was thinking, I was like, is he moving? So I'll have to, you send me that later because I can't remember. You said
and there's a British comedian, Paul Chowdhury.
Paul Chowdhury.
Oh, he's good with a beard. He's got a nice beard.
Oh, he's got an epic.
Nice hair.
If like, you know when you say who would you want as a guest as well, like to get on the list of like, I think he's fucking amazing.
So I've gigged with Paul. Yeah? I've done tour support for Paul as well, and he's so unique because he is what he is. Yeah. He is what he is. What you see on stage is like a slightly exaggerated thing, but he is intense, and he is like quick, and he's got this mad following as well. I did tour support for him, and I didn't tell his audience he had tour support, so I went on, and for the first couple of minutes they were furious, and I had to go, no, Paul's coming on after me. Oh, that's fine, it's fine. But yeah.
Yeah, he'd be a fucking wicked guest.
He does a lot on social media, doesn't he? Yeah. Which I know all comedians do to some degree, right? But he's got like, I know he posts like his own videos kind of thing. I get the vibe that he posts his own videos on Facebook, and they're monetized and stuff, obviously. But I like him. He's cool. I like, who I like? Just on the same, it reminded me. I don't even know if he's still around now. But you remember a guy called Omid Jalili? Yes. He was actually maybe he just left comedy behind because he was in The Mummy, wasn't? I don't know if anyone remembers. He was in The Mummy. He had like a scarab run under his skin and then died. I think it ran into his brain, ate the brain, I guess. But anyway, he died.
Yeah. I remember him.
He came to our university to do a talk on comedy. Oh yeah. So he came when he was in his like really rising and coming through the ranks, and he said because he was getting into movies. So this is just before he got into The Mummy and all that stuff. And he said how you market yourself as an actor or as a performer is key. And he said at this point I am the only person listed on Spotlight as a dirty Arab. So he said, that's how I get my gigs. He said, because people, they don't want to say that's what they want, but that's what they want. And then he was the only one. Honestly, he was, and my wife was, she was an agent in comedy. And so she used to look after his tour for a little bit. And he is another one of those humans that is just glorious to be around. And you want these nice stories. There's so many nasty ones, all this. But yeah, seeing him at university when he just said that, everybody just,
What a legend.
I think he was supposed to play in that footy thing, that I did.
Oh, yeah. Cool.
And I think he pulled out last minute. I remember being devastated. Thinking, fuck, man. Just John Waters here now. But no, John was really nice. It was cool meeting him. But I think I probably just thought, somebody else that doesn't actually play football professionally in some capacity. But yeah, I used to like Stephen. Do you know Stephen Wright? Nobody knows Stephen Wright. Old American comedian. He's like super dry. He used to get on stage, just look down and tell these one-liners. Kind of like Jack D, but like less animated.
Wow.
Had like really long hair. But I think he was around for a pretty short period of time. But he was in The Simpsons.
Right.
They did an episode. Do you remember that episode of The Simpsons where Krusty the Clown, he stops being a clown, he becomes like an observational comedian.
Yes.
And there's like Bobcat Goldthwait on there, who was, I think, was he in Police Academy or something? But a bunch of those like kind of hip American comedians. And Stephen Wright was in that. But I think his career might have been quite short-lived. I don't know if he just ran out of jokes to write. But I don't mind Tim Vine as well, because he tells it's just like his
slick one-liners.
They're just like shitty dad jokes, start to finish, but because they are, that's what it's funny. I like stuff that's, because I got a bit bored, I think, personally, of like all the observational comedy. I don't want to say it now, right? Because you're going to make a clip saying like Beard starts beef with Peter Kay. That's not what I'm doing. But like garlic bread jokes, that used to piss me off. I'm like, no, Peter, no, come on. Nobody on planet Earth doesn't understand garlic bread. I don't care if you're from the arse end of fucking, I don't know, some old village on the outskirts of Barnsley. You know what garlic bread is. So you can't really make out that's an exotic food and that people don't understand it. And everyone knows what cheesecake is, but he had this audience in the palm of his hand, like, why are you laughing? Mrs. Baby sat next to me, I'm like, it's not even funny. I don't resent the dude, obviously he did well for himself, that Max and Paddy stuff had its moments.
Yeah.
But I remember thinking, I'm just tired of this observational shit. Like, you don't just say stuff that people do and then expect people to laugh.
George, get that shit clipped, man.
Yeah.
There's a million views.
Maybe
there.
we could get him on. He's not really doing much these days, is he?
He was the best man at my wedding.
Was he?
Peter Kay was?
No, was he?
Fuck, I think you're serious.
Imagine.
I'm already sweating, but that was...
Adam, what do you reckon your chances would be at would you give it a go? Stand-up comedy?
No. I'm not that I'm saying you're egotistical, mate, but like I think you have to have a certain sense of like, I don't mean ego in the sense that you're proud of yourself or anything like that. I mean, you have to have like, in the Freudian sense, an ego. You have to go out there and think I can make these people laugh. I think I'm like I say to you about acting, which is also an area of Bryan's expertise. I'd like to give it a go, but I don't think you know what I mean? Like, I don't believe that I'll be successful at it.
Yeah.
I think you'd be a good comic.
Yeah, I could try, but
100%.
What would you look for in a comedy?
This is a good look. I like it.
Yeah, this is a good question. Good question. Well done, mate. Well done.
That's not even written out.
Yeah, that's it. Again, it's that individual thing, but and it's not being, and especially with you, Adam, you can kind of tell you've got a sense of humour, you've got a unique story already, you travel, so you'll have all this stuff you can pull from, and you can talk on the mic. So, everybody, this is the thing with comedy, it's one of the best kept secrets because everybody has got a story. You've sat with your mates and you've told them something that's happened and they've pissed themselves. All you do is you find a way of growing that so that more people can follow you on. And there are little tricks and tips and all that, but the first thing is just getting out there and saying it.
Yeah, because I think it's like, I guess in its purest form, it is an act, innit? You are writing your jokes in a performance. So like, I think when you think about it just as an observer or like an admirer of comedy, you just think that they're just shooting it on stage, but not that they've rehearsed it.
Blew my mind.
a million times.
Blew my mind. So I went to university in London. I went to the Jongleurs there, which is in Camden, and I watched Phil Nicol. And he is one of the best live comics you can watch. Seriously, like one of the most unfollowable comics I've ever seen. And he's just got this, and I didn't realize it then, like the golden 20 minutes. This 20-minute sets, and he does all this crazy stuff, plays music, he interacts with the audience. So I booked to see him again. I didn't know it was going to be exactly the same. And it was the same energy, the same thing. He picked someone out, used the same moments, but it was that he's built this, and that's just his. I mean, he does phenomenal hour shows as well. So each year he writes something different, and he does something more artistic. But this golden 20 minutes that he's absolutely crafted over the years he's been doing it is, and for me, this was before I was in comedy. This was when I just moved to London. Thought I want to watch a comedy show. I broke my heart a little bit.
I don't think it's strange because I think that's what, like, when I first got into sort of production and you realise, actually,
there's
like,
tricks.
it's just there's so much work that goes into it. We only ever see that polished piece at the end, and like, even like your videos, you only see that 8 minutes. You don't see the 40 hours that you've put into it.
Even like my videos, like it's some low grade like Molly May shit. Ooh, that's another person that's another vlogger I've just name dropped. I'm sorry. Like I must take a lot of work, and I think, I mean, for me, I think when you go up there, like, it must be, you're never going to know that if it lands, and there are going to be those nights when it doesn't land right.
Yeah.
I think that must hurt so much. But I suppose if you're resilient, I mean,
that's it. It's like, how bad do you want it? Like, if that's what it's going to be more painful if you need that. Like, if this is your passion in your career and it's what you want to make a living out of, and then that crowd turns on you, that's going to hurt so much more than if me and you went and did a night. Didn't really change his lives, does it? We might end up on internet.
Well, I suppose everything like that usually starts with hobbies, isn't it? So you can, if you need to kind of leave it and be like, oh fuck, I don't want to do it anymore, you can, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, let's go on to presenting then. So obviously, I'm assuming did presenting come after comedy?
So it's obviously with the acting background and doing comedy, you get offered these little jobs here and there doing the presenting work as well, because you're relaxed. And it's the same way that I sort of fell into the MMA stuff, and we'll probably talk about that, is people just want people that can relax in front of a camera, or can make people that they're talking to relax. And that's a big skill. And if you can make a few jokes, if you're not so stiff because you're scared of a camera or a light or the topic or anything like that, that kind of opens doors for you as well.
So I'm just laughing because do you watch the boxing at the weekend?
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's what is it, 28 quid, the box office? And the presenter they had on there, I don't know the name of the presenter, right? But she said they go around the ring and they show all the famous faces, and she's like, "There's Hassim Nahmed there." I'm like, I'm paying 28 quid for you to get his name the wrong way around. You mean Nassim Hamid? How is this person a job on like box office? Surely they should get the MVP of presenting doing that, right? I guess anyone can do it. I don't know.
It's true.
It just made me laugh. Sorry, I just thought of that. Hassim Nahmed.
For fuck's sake. You wonder how he's got a podcast, don't you?
Yeah. No.
He's got his 2 million subscriber plaque there. That's why he's got a podcast.
Well, I did tell you I'm not coming on this show till he breaks that too. So it's a good job he got it before.
I'm nearly at 2.1 now. Shit's getting out of control.
It's madness.
That is bonkers.
Isn't that because I travel a lot and I see people watching your videos all over the world.
Oh, thanks, man.
It's but it feels like a very like airport
I'll give
thing.
you the money later on.
See people sat there just And do you know another thing? Fighters watch a lot of your stuff when they're cutting weight.
I've heard that, like Paddy Pimblett.
Yeah.
I know, I get that, like bodybuilds and stuff. I quite like that though,
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to know who like objectively the most famous person is. Like I'd love to hear like not the Queen, because I'm not really into the royal family, but I don't know. Someone really, I mean, like
Elon Musk, perhaps.
Yeah,
just,
like if he you wouldn't put it past him. He's a bit quirky, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Anyway, if anyone's famous and listen to this, let me know if you watch the vids and stuff. But what were we talking about? We're talking
If
about
you've got this far, presenting. Tell us about your presenting.
Yeah, it's good. That's why I get the jobs.
What was the first presenting gig you did then, or the one you were off and you thought, hey, that's a bit different?
It's I did one for it was. Do you know before all these not just eat the boxes where you can order the food and it kind of tells you the recipe and how to cook it. There was one in London which was like a farm shop based one, and they wanted to go around London and it was for like a lifestyles show, and I was like, I've got no idea, and this could be horrific, and it was just awesome fun. I was like, you could just get to be yourself, and I was like, this could be it. This could be the job. And then you wait another 8 years to get your next one. It's like,
how much are you involved in the production side of that then? Are you just almost given a script?
Yeah, basically a script. I've had other jobs where as a comedian as well, they'll tell you to come in and can you write some stuff? Can you write some gags? I did one for This was when dating websites just started for the best opening line for a date or to try and get that sort of stuff. So they just saw it as a job. So they said, right, we need you in the office from 9 o'clock till 6 p.m. every week. Monday to Friday, and we'd like you to rattle out. But it's the most unconducive area. Just sat at a desk, surrounded by people doing real jobs, like arguing over like paper, how thin the paper is in the printer, or it's getting jammed or whatever. And you got to come up with. And they said, "Well, you've only written 482 to this." Like, I've been in 3 weeks.
I didn't realise that. I do like coops, like fucking chains to the desk writing joke writers.
Yeah,
that's mad.
Yeah, someone's got to do it, haven't they?
Yeah.
Well, I guess so, yeah.
So what other gigs have you done then, presenting?
All sorts of little bits. I've done some stuff for like other people's websites and things like that. And we've done stuff. Obviously, we did the tennis. That was not the tennis. Badminton. That
Memorable, yeah. Memorable.
It was just before COVID, so it was.
I remember thinking, telling me about that. I mean, thinking that's kind of quite cool. It was like, oh yeah, it's just like badminton. I'm probably selling you out there, aren't they? If they ever want to book you again. I remember thinking, I used to like a bit of badders when I was a kid. Nobody watches it.
I completely underestimated the job. Like I thought badminton. I thought 4 people's going to rock up to that, and then it turned out it was like an arena in Birmingham.
It was massive.
They sent us to France to meet the world champions. I went to Manchester United, and then they were like, so the 2 other people was presenting, weren't there? And I'm like. I spoke to them both, and I'm like, we need somebody else here, like we need a colour commentator. I'm like, I know a guy. I thought, Brian's doing all his MMA stuff, but he's a funny guy, he's professional, and like, if I want somebody on the home team, do you know what I mean? Like that, I thought, we'll get Brian in on this. So managed to like get a deal together. You came down, and it were an amazing gig, to be fair, wasn't it?
It was nuts because I had underestimated how big badminton was as well, and it was like even like the views from in particular regions in the world. So where were those the guys from? They were
Far East. I forget.
It's Philippines or something like that, wasn't it? And he had and you look at the clips you put up on theirs, and it was hundreds of thousands, getting to millions of views.
So we put the first show out so we'd shoot. So obviously they'd play all day, then we'd record from like 7 till 9. It weren't long, were it? Because we'd already pre-produced everything, so it was just sort of slotting it together, and then we'd edit through till maybe 11 p.m. Obviously Brian's tucked in bed at this point. We'd press launch on YouTube channel, wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning. It had done like 300,000 views.
I hadn't slept though because I was thinking this because it was so like ropey pulling it all together and trying to make it fit and getting everybody who'd never worked together before, and I was thinking, how the hell are you going to make an episode out of this?
That's a signature of anything that Josh produces. Tell you the truth, that it's ropey.
I thought you were going to follow up with a compliment.
No, that was
the build, but then in the delivery,
I was going to ask you, do you have like a dream presenting job, like Blue Peter maybe or something? I don't know.
Now, do you know what? Doing what, and it sounds totally cliched and over the top, but doing what I do right now, like the MMA stuff, that's my dream job. That is like, I still wonder how the hell I got there. And speaking and hanging out with some like legends of the sport. I don't know how much you know about MMA, but people
very little. Yeah,
but some of the early names like Tito Ortiz, Rampage Jackson, Frank Mir, having them on my phone in WhatsApp chats and things. And these were the guys that I started watching, and then now with the up and coming fighters, knowing them and being able to go to shows, and so for me, it's I don't want to do anything else. This is the thing. Yeah,
Baz Rutten. Nice. I know Baz Rutten. Is he still alive?
He's still alive. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely broken as a human being physically. He talks about all the injuries he's got, but you look at when he was coming through the Vale Tudo stuff, like he learnt that's open hand slaps on in some of the contests that he was in, and he created the greatest palm strike you're ever going to see, and knocked people out. There's supposed to be a shot that kind of stifles you, but he would break faces with the palm of his hands.
Like Eddie Honda from Street Fighter.
Exactly.
So how did you get into the MMA world then?
So this was during comedy, and all the podcast stuff had just started going off, and I was doing one of my favourite gigs. It was in Maribel in the ski resorts. So you'd go around, you'd do gigs in the chalets, and in the day you go skiing. So me and another comic, Carl Donnelly, who's a phenomenal comic, very unique, very original, and always sort of ahead of the game. We were on a ski lift going up, and we were just talking, and he was saying, I don't get why. And he wasn't saying it at me, he was just saying it. He said, if you're a comic, why wouldn't you have a podcast? Why would you not do something which can get you more of an audience? And I was sat on the ski lift going, I ain't got a podcast. I ain't got a podcast. Oh my God, this is going to be a long ride home. And then it was, I couldn't think of what to do it on. I didn't want to do it on comedy. I didn't want to, And basically, I used to watch a lot of MMA. I watched stupid amounts of mixed martial arts, even before it was huge and before it was out in the mainstream. And I used to watch all the interviews back, and then I'd always kind of stop watching the interviews because I didn't like the people that were doing the interviews. Like the same questions. They were usually just geeks that had kind of decided I want to go to a show. So I kind of thought, do you know what? I reckon I could do something with that. And to start with, I did a podcast just with comedians, because lots of them liked MMA. Some of them were martial artists. Some of them had fights. So I did a podcast called The Stand-Ups Throwdown. And then again, hobby, just a little sideline, trying to keep Carl Donnelly happy. Please don't hate me next year. Within a couple of months, managers had started phoning me and said, would you interview fighters as well as comedians? And I said, okay. So I did a couple of fighters. And then shows, Bama contacted me and said, we've got shows coming up and your interviews are getting good numbers, good clicks and like good content. Would you come and do the post-fight backstage interviews for some of the stuff? So I paid for myself to go out to the show, bought myself a crappy suit and a camera, and like even if you look at my first shot, my head's down here and the fighter's up here, and I'm doing the interviews, and I think it was within like 6 months, and I'd eventually roped a mate in to come and do the filming for me, and I'd done a few shows then, and I said to him, I'm going to get from the backstage, I'm going to get to the cage. I'm going to get to that cage. And within 6 months, they offered me my first presenting job. So it was all, again, just taking a leap, buying a microphone.
Yeah,
my first edit, if you look at the sound, I did all the volumes per word pretty much. But again, you got to be rubbish before you get good. And yeah, within 6 months I had that. And then from there, it's just moved from doing the interviews to the presenting. I did the Bama presenting. It was at front of camera for some of their events. And then eventually got offered jobs to go and sit cage side and shout loudly while people punch the people in the face.
Yeah. So how does presenting differ from commentating then? Like that's a skill in itself, isn't it? Being able to commentate on, so call what you're seeing to relate to an audience.
Yeah. And it's for me, it's because I've watched so much. Like as a kid, I wasn't mad on football. I did play a lot of it. I used to go watch the mighty Huddersfield Town every so often. But fighting was like, why are you laughing at, mate?
I don't know. I'm an Arsenal fan. I don't know why I'm laughing.
The mighty. 3 times in a row we won that league. But 1921. But for me, I watched so much of it, and it was kind of natural. I was already fairly relaxed with in front of a camera or on a mic, and with calling the fights, you're sat next to it. The way it should work is I do play-by-play, so I do all the sort of leads and questions, and I sort of do the tell of the tapes and the adverts in between and set everything up. And then beside me, there's an expert, or there should be an expert, and I will fire stuff at them. And for me, it's a dream job because I could get to ask. And sometimes, like now, I've done martial arts a while. You can kind of know what positions are, but I try and educate the audience by asking questions from those certain positions, and especially with fighters from some of the regions that I've commentated in, whether it's Russia or Eastern Europe. If you two tuned in, you'd have no idea who they were. But my job is to kind of make you feel something for them. So as a kind of responsibility, I'll speak to the fighters, I'll do the research, I'll look on their Instagram, I'll try and get as much background as possible so I can tell a story. So when they're making their walk, before they touch gloves and fight, hopefully you two will know something that makes you feel something about one of those guys or girls that'll make you go, I want that person to win.
How long does it take you to, I guess, do the research or pre-production for an event? So like Oktagon now, like you're going into an Oktagon arena and you've got how many fights? 15 fights?
Yeah, between 12 and 15, something.
How long does it take you to research, well, if there's 15 fights, 30 fighters, like how long does that take you to get that ready?
A long time. That's what people don't get. And this is the bit I always say, I don't get paid for doing the commentary. I get paid for the travel, which is horrific sometimes, and I get paid for the work bit, which is the research. So I'll try and spend like a minimum of an hour on each person, which is 30 hours minimum, all that. I will have relationships, so I will have seen some of the fighters before. I'll know some of the dynamics, so that helps. But I'll always try and dig out something new to talk about. So for me, I've got pages of notes. I've watched not just their fights, but their interviews. Again, I've looked at social media. I've spoken to their coaches, their teammates, and I'll have sometimes 2 pages on this guy, and the fight will finish in 10 seconds. And I'll be like, but that's fine with me, because sometimes I'm calling the fight and it's just wrestling on the ground. and there's not much to say. But if I can be talking about some of the journey or the preparation or the adversity they faced to get to that point, that at least makes it interesting to listen to, even if it's maybe not to watch.
Have you ever thought about that side of it? Because I just think it's wild. It's a bit like...
No, I wouldn't have, right? But I saw a video, I think it was yesterday or the day before, which it was like a little kind of short thing, but it was showing you, Martin Tyler, you won't know him, he does the football commentary, George, right? And he was showing, he didn't sound like he was as well prepared as you, Ryan, but he had like a little notepad and he was talking about like behind the scenes, how do you get prepped for a commentary gig, basically. And I always kind of thought they'd done it from the majority from memory, like especially if you're as old as Martin Tyler, he's been doing it years, right? That you'd just be like, you say what you see, but you don't really, do you? There's got to be some kind of, you've got to be able to bring out some stats or, you say some nuggets of something to keep it in it, especially the wrestling. That's where it loses me a bit. I can still watch it. Yeah. I'm trying to get into it because otherwise I'd have fuck all to talk to Josh about, but he doesn't watch footage.
Jackass 3's out next week.
No, mate, they're on Jackass 9 now or something. But, yeah, but
is this the one with Vin Diesel?
Probably, yeah. But that's what it loses me a little bit there. So I think that's probably where that said though, I can't listen to Michael Bisping.
Oh, why?
I don't know if he was
first ever champion of the UK.
I don't know what's that voice about, man.
Do you know a great story about Michael Bisping? So he did the reality TV show, the Ultimate Fighter for the UFC, and he's from England, and he's on an English-speaking show, and his accent was that bad they subtitled him. and if you listen to him then and you listen to him now, he's actually fixed his accent is clearer and less regional. I
get that. Because I understand this, right? Because when I go to, I will speak very slightly differently. My accent isn't different when I go to America, but the intonation of what I say is.
Yeah.
So you'll end things like a question. You know what I mean? You're like, hey, can I do your burger challenge today? Rather than, can I do your burger challenge? That's different. But when I said Michael Bisping, I'm like, this weird kind of transatlantic thing, but not in a good way, not like a, I don't know, Peter Sellers or something. It's like this odd, like you're half from Warrington or wherever he's from, and then you like, and I'm like, lad, I don't get it, but so it kind of puts me off a bit. He seems like a nice dude, and I like how he takes his eye out sometimes and just kind of
that's
around and whatnot.
Have you ever seen his movie?
No.
It's so like for the hype that it had, it looks like a college film. It looks like a
should have got you filming it, mate.
Oh my god, it's so bad. I could have done a better job.
We don't want him on the enemies list, Michael. We love you, really. We love you.
When I was doing that, do you know when you fought Anderson Silva? So that's an epic fight. If you want to go and watch a Bisping fight that would make you a fan of his, in London against Anderson Silva, one of the greatest of all time. So I did the media there. This is again when I was just starting out doing the media stuff, and I got to go to the UFC, and it was one of my first ones. And there was. It's very cliquey, the media. It's very like everybody knows each other, and it's hard to sort of work your way in. And if you're different and you're suddenly a new face, you kind of feel that. So I kind of sat back, and Anderson Silva had a huge press ring around him, and you can't ask proper questions then because he's spinning plates. He doesn't speak the same language. So I was trying to wait for him, but he just shot off. He just disappeared, didn't do much. Bisping stayed for the entire day, like the whole of the thing, and answered everybody's questions individually. And I was the last guy. I was the last in the queue to speak to him, and he was as good with me as he was with the first person that he interviewed. And I thought, that says a lot.
I feel bad now.
That says a lot. Fucking prick. I hope it
puts me off a little bit. Like I want to hear the full northern mashings on it, man.
You've pissed off Michael Bisping. You've pissed off Paddy Pimblett.
How else are we going to grow this podcast? Lad? Come on,
you should keep shooting him down.
He knows the game. He's got 2 million subscribers.
Mate, he's mates with Blake Harrison. The Neil from Between Us.
Oh, that's supposed to come on, yeah.
Yeah, so hopefully Brian can put in a word for us.
I'll give him a little nudge.
I've got a good question for you. Do you ever get especially with scary people? Most MMA fighters are quite scary. Do you ever get when you've had to ask them a question when you're doing the interview and stuff? Have you ever thought I want to ask him a bit of a, when you're trying to plant a question which is going to be something which they say something, controversial, right? But it's going to maybe wind him up a bit. Do you ever get that?
Yeah, because you've again, I'm not a journalist, so when I was asking questions, it wasn't about just the weight cut or the camp or anything else. I'd be trying to dig into some of the stuff that's real to them, and again, I've had bits where you can see it in their eyes, they're just staring at you, going, why the fuck? And they know they got to answer it, and they just give you the look, and you're like, I've just fucked off the light heavyweight champion of the world completely.
Connor, I know you just snapped your leg in half, but do you call that a beard? Is there anything you could be improving there?
That is like goes down in history, doesn't it, when he snaps his leg in half and Joe Rogan gets down behind him. I fucking love that,
mate. But there's there's the Chris Weidman one where he broke his leg. There's the Anderson Silva one when he broke his leg on Chris Weidman again, and they did a horrible thing where they showed, look, here's the American getting taken out after the leg break. Here's the Brazilian getting taken out of the leg break. Irishman, I'll do an interview. No problem. That's right.
The worst bit about that, I don't know if you watch it back, maybe you could put like a clip in, but like there's a bit of coagulated blood just swinging off his ear, and it's like it's the worst.
It's the one where he's like, "Your wife is in me DMs.
Your wife's in me DMs.
There was no check. Your wife's in me DMs, baby."
Oh my god!
Shut up, McGregor.
When you're talking about coagulated stuff on people, that is one of the worst bits about this job, is because I'll do the interviews afterwards in the cage, so they're covered in blood and sweat and other stuff that's just come out of it. That's it. But I'm squeamish. Like, it's weird. I'm terrible with blood. Absolutely. Like I was the kid at school that always passed out if somebody. and it's happened to me. My kids fall off a bike. Talking about bad dad.
Oh wait, let's quit the segment. Right, so you've started now, right? So this week's segment of Josh's father in fails, we're gonna put Bryan in for it. So yeah, roll the jingle.
Till he's bumping ahead, falling down the stairs. It's time we hear the tales.
Bryan's
Father in fails.
We'll go back.
You can leave the room now, Josh.
Is this table lifted up? Put it back down, boys. Right, we'll go back to MMA in a second, but as soon as we just mentioned you're squeamish.
Oh, but I'm so bad. I am so bad. And it's ridiculous because I see so much blood in the job that I do. But like my kid, we went up and it was her birthday. It was her 7th birthday. And we got her a new scooter. So she was scooting around doing all that stuff. And again, she just fell off it. And she just sort of grazed her face, bumped her lip, grazed her knee, that sort of thing. But rather than running towards her, I had to turn around and look at my wife and go, "You got to do this. You got to do this." Because it's when I haven't seen it. I've seen some really bad cuts and injuries, and I've actually covered in blood from other people from the fights, and it just getting on you and things. But it was that, and it was that moment then on the drive home, because my wife went down with it. We're all sat in the car. And I know my wife's going, "Useless father, useless." Because I'm supposed to protect the family, whatever. And she hadn't hurt herself much, but it was just because of a little graze. And I literally looked at Hannah and I was like, "You need to do this," because I could feel the white. I can even feel it now. The white starting to come up me, and I was like, I can't. She can't be dealing with the child and me on the floor.
Is it worse because it's your offspring? Does that amplify it?
Not really. Sometimes because I hadn't actually seen the accident. I just heard, and Hannah was like, "She's bleeding," and then that's it. I'm done. I'm done. But it wasn't like I knew it wasn't bad. And this makes me sound even worse. Our child is bleeding. You've got this, baby. I'll be okay. Oh my god.
How bad? Do I need a tourniquet? No, it's yours then.
Can we cut this out? Because this is actually, when I say it out loud, I've never said this before. It's much worse when I say it out loud.
Yeah. We can't cut this.
I don't think that's that bad.
No, we do miss her though. We do miss her. We've kept the receipt for the bike, so we got the money back, which is fine.
So, like, you obviously give a shit but it seems to be every week that I've got a story about it. But is this a frequent occurrence for a child just to bang, drop, bump their heads? Like it's commonplace.
When they get past that age where they're shuffling on the ground, every room becomes like Final Destination. It's like when they can move and they can stand, and when suddenly things that should not, like that. First of all, there's a knife on the table there. I would spot that straight away. But there'd be simple things like you'd looking at the corners of the table. Then you'd be looking at how easy it was for them to get up to the blinds, or are the ropes low. And so every room suddenly becomes this thing as a parent where you see every accident happen as you look round, even though it's not going to happen and it's very unlikely it will. So yeah.
Well, it's good that you do that kind of due diligence, right? Because Josh is the kind of guy, he was trying to lead you down the path there, saying, yeah, it happens quite often. But this is the man that puts, how old is Tilly?
17 months.
Oh, that's horrific.
So less than 2 years, less than 2 years old. And rather than do this kind of risk assessment of locations, he puts her on a bike, sends her head first into a big fucking pile of rubble or something.
It's the northern way. That's how we do it up here.
That's how he toughens her up, yeah.
Oh, she gets a pile of rubble as well for Christmas.
Yes.
That's nice.
Mate, you make it out like I'm so. Luckily, my wife, she's in charge of all that. I'm just like the fun dad.
Well, you have that in common, then, don't you?
Yeah,
That's right. You're gonna have to handle this one.
Right, let's get back to the MMA world then. We've actually got a mutual friend. So Brian knows Mr. Danny Mitchell extremely well.
I enjoy with Danny. You told Brian we had Danny on?
I listened. Yeah,
Oh,
of
do you?
course. Yeah.
I love that. It was an interesting bloke to talk to. I love that, like speaking to, not that presenters and comedians aren't fun, but people are like at that at those real extremes of.
I'm really new today. Anyway, what a prick.
When else do you
I
get
told you you were a prick as well. You're like,
sure,
let's be Adam. I'm
when
like,
else do
well.
you get to test out your improvisational comedy on a comedian,
That's
professional
right,
comedian, no less?
yeah.
But I like
Jiu-Jitsu blue belt.
yeah, don't
keep that
fuck
in
me
mind.
up. Two year.
Let's go.
But no, when Danny when Danny was on, that was one of my favourite ones because it was really, he's a funny lad, isn't he? But like he told the whole weight cutting thing, and I didn't really know. I know quite a lot about cutting weight, but like some of the mad shit he was saying, people looking at his dick when he was peeing and stuff, peeing treacle. That was.
First of all, he is a legend. He is so unique and he's so individual and he's so clever. Like you listen. I've listened to him corner people and coach people. Like he was at the IMAFs, which is like the youth amateur world championships, and he was looking after some of the fighters there, fighters that he wouldn't usually coach or be in the corner of. And he is so clever at breaking down martial arts. He's so clever at inspiring people, getting the best out of people, and he's mad as a prick. Oh my god! Like I remember we were on kind of holiday together. It was an event that was supposed to happen that didn't happen, which meant we'd hired out a whole hotel for God knows how many people, about 200 people for an event, and they didn't end up coming. So we basically got credit for all that. So we had like £12,500 worth of credit on the hotel. Me, Danny Mitchell, Carl Prince, their kids. We got people flying in, flying over. And so I'm on holiday with the Mitchells, which I'd never thought would happen. And I got my little girl, Alice, they got his little kid, Roman, and they're playing away in the pool, and Danny's just in the pool with Roman, and all of a sudden he just goes code brown. Roman shit in the pool. And Danny, you talk about lightning reactions, he literally just scoops it up, digs one of the plants at the side under, throws it under, puts it back, washes his hand, and then carries on walking like in one motion as quick as you
Just
like.
some little hairy bearded fella getting out of pool going, sorry.
He's a wild individual, is Danny. We're going to have to get him back on the show. Yeah. And again, like, you say about like Inza, you mate Paddy, he's going on Paddy's show. I don't know if that's... nobody listens to our show. Daddy's going to go on Paddy Pimblett's podcast, so maybe we
What do you mean no one listens to our show? Like 1 million people listen to it, haven't they?
We have had a couple of views on this podcast.
Oh, nice.
You had a podcast, didn't you, with BT Sport?
Did have a podcast with BT
How did that
Sport.
go down?
You sell it, you big sellout.
So I did it with Brad Pickett, who again, this is a fighter that I used to watch years ago. That was WEC Bodog fighter, cage race champion over this side, fought in the UFC as well. So like a legend, 135-pound, tiny little monster of a man. And I interviewed him. And
can we clip that and pretend that he was talking about me? 135-pound monster of a man. You can put it on Wikipedia in quotation marks. We can say Bryan Lacey. This is what he said about me.
If you do an Edinburgh show, you could use that on your poster. That would do it if you go
on.
live.
I interrupted.
So I got interviewing him, and we ended up becoming mates, and to the point where he trained me for a fight, and I did a fight. So I did that under Brad, under this Wimp to Warrior program, and from there we started doing a podcast. So we did the One Punch podcast, and then BT Sports approached us and said, "Would you like to do the UFC, the BT Sports UFC one?" Which was fun. It was fun, but we were very restricted. We were super restricted about what we could talk about, or some of the guests, or some of the questions. So there was even the point where Brad just won a bare knuckle title fight, and he wasn't allowed to talk about. And it was that, like, this podcast should be this. We should be able to float and jump around wherever we want. And that's the kind of content that I think works, especially for MMA fans. It doesn't have to just be about the fighting or whatever else. But it was, it was strange, but it was a great experience. People that we worked with were good. It was just, when we do an episode, you'd have to wait for everything to go through compliance, which not everything made it through compliance. So, but again, that's lessons learned. And we were going to do some more, but we kind of, I said, I think we should go back to doing it as we do.
There's like independence.
Yeah, and there's freedom with that. It was great doing the thing and having the brand and all that stuff, and a good learning experience. But for us, we didn't come out like buzzing after every single episode, and which is a sign, right? You got to enjoy it.
Well, that's what you live by, really, isn't it? It's
Somebody's deadlifting downstairs again. They're getting ready for their next fight, whatever it is.
That's what you live by, though, isn't it? Like you've never sort of sold out on your channel and just persevered through the.
No, I was just thinking that sounds like the difference between like, doing like your sponsored videos, or the difference between like, say, doing your own YouTube stuff and what you want to do, exclusively what you want to do, and then say doing TV work, which everyone thinks would be like a goal. But we've had this conversation before. Yeah. I wouldn't do TV work now for fucking. You'd have to pay me, I don't know, vast amounts of money to even touch it, But it seems like because you can't be yourself, can you? So if you're working to parameters that somebody else sets, I get why BT don't want to hear about that Valet Tudo shit, you gouging eyes or whatever, or bare knuckle stuff. I get it because it's that they probably think maybe it's too extreme for people or whatever. But if that is a part of like the whole tapestry of what you talk about,
the dynamic,
then it's. And you want to talk about it, you think people are going to be interested, then you think, well, why the fuck am I on this show? If I was on my own show, I could talk about it, So I totally get that, yeah.
Well, I guess we finally should probably touch on your most recent endeavour with...
our most recent endeavour.
Our, yeah. So
it looked wild, those flipping shows, the fireworks and all that shit, pyrotechnics.
So Oktagon MMA. So this is where the gig was reciprocated from Bryan to me, and he landed this gig with this wicked organisation and went... It's my turn, Josh. We're making a show. I'm like, fuck yeah, let's go.
but you know what? So we do this magazine show, and again, as soon as they talk to me about doing this content, because Oktagon is based in at the minute Slovakia and the Czech Republic, and they built a huge audience. You saw the arenas, the shows that they're doing, selling out 20,000 seats in Prague, in Slovakia, Bratislava, 10,000 seats in Frankfurt, huge numbers for these shows. And they said, right, we want this magazine show where we start feeding into the mainstream, into some of the Western audience. And so I thought about you straight away, about doing it. But then what I've realized has happened, because when I first thought about doing it, I thought, well, I'd like it in a dynamic where I get to talk, but there's somebody there with me. So I kind of thought...
Same.
Yeah, but like George, George like dejects.
Yeah, but the way that I pictured it in my head, because I imagined that you would be cutting the clips in for. So I was thinking about your skill set. I imagined your skill set as well. But now what I've actually done is taken the CEO of Get Your Media, the guy who does all the big decisions, and I've got him doing skits for this MMA promotion. And he looks on the laptop at the fights, but he pretends that he's doing what George is actually doing over there. And so I've roped him into doing this, and it only dwelled on me sort of after the last episode when I was watching it back, and I was like, I've actually just made Josh just
I'm just like,
there.
so we initially said, because it's like, I'll chat to you and we'll sort of talk about it as we go through, and I'm like, all right. And then I'm thinking, like, from a production standpoint, it'd be very dangerous to just chance that I cut at the right time, or chance that I've got the right thing to, or whatever. And I thought, no, we need to shoot this properly. Like, I need to get all cameras rolling, and if we make a mistake, we can go back. Yeah. But in doing that, it removes the live element, and it basically meant that you've just added me as a co-host of the fucking podcast.
So you just pretend to press stuff.
Yeah. So we have the camera shot and everything like that. But the annoying thing is they really like Josh.
That is annoying, isn't it? He's a good foil, isn't he? He's a good straight man in the sense that, a comedy straight man,
I've spent ages like coming up with the format for the show, sorting out the videos, making it dynamic and trying to really tell a story. Like, think, right, if we start here, then we can use this episode to go here and introduce this character here. And hours of painful. And he sits there and says 3 or 4 words. That's a good fight.
That sounds like he was always working on impression.
I was just telling the party line. Do you know what I mean?
You were great. It was good.
You asked me for a little bit of an input. I'll give you it. I'll say a little bit about fighting. I know my place. I just sit back, and that's all you needed from me, wasn't it?
No, not at all. Because you know fighting, and you've been around MMA as well, and that was for me. Again, I thought I'd be getting you to to use some of your skill set as well. Because I'm sorry about that. This is kind of happening. You just sit in the corner for 6 hours in a day with me, but it's exciting because the show's brand new. And it's one that now is hopefully going to get bigger. They've talked to me a little bit about their plans, what they want to do next year, and the platforms they're looking to go on. And I think it's going to be a fun time. And the show's different. It's very different to normal.
Yeah, it's cool,
MMA
isn't it?
shows.
I mean, like we've recorded the first 2 as like pilot episodes, so that's why I didn't go full ham on live switching and get everything set up, because you didn't know how long. You don't know if it's going to last here. Let's do it in the traditional production standpoint where we've got full control. But then now they're talking about building sets and like full Ariel Helwani style MMA show. So the Bryan's show. And
You just named him. That was a name I didn't know.
no, he's like the
main guy, the main
I thought he
guy.
was doing like, you know, when Sebastian the Crab in Little Mermaid, because he's like Ariel. What was he on about? Hey, can my allowed do a Jamaican? I said Jamaican crab. That's
Yeah,
allowed. Right?
That's, of course it is. It's
It's
Sebastian.
a cultural appropriation now. You must have that as well. You must be thinking, fucking hell, what can I, especially as a comic, what the fuck do I say? Like, you can't make jokes about anything
I
anymore.
think it's probably easier as a comic because then it comes under the umbrella of comedy.
It's
Well,
work.
you'd think, but everything
comedians
gets
get
taken
cancelled.
out. Everything gets taken out of context, and so I've forgotten who it was who said it. If you're worried about getting cancelled, you've probably already said the thing that will get you cancelled. So they could jump back to a podcast 2 years ago and go, "This is what you said about this," and you go, "Yeah, but it was in this context." But they just take that thing. So yeah,
It's a wild world that we live in now, isn't it? And
stupid. Some of it's stupid, right?
yeah,
Some,
absolutely.
yeah.
But like, you know, we put ourselves out there every week on a podcast, and you try to like. There's certainly no financial gain from this for us. Like creating this podcast, we
fucking
do it
opposite, mate. I got your bill last week.
we did the accounts of like it's cost us a fucking fortune to run this podcast, and that's even running out of your studio. It's cost a fortune, but we do it because we enjoy it, and people get enjoyment out of it. But it's a shame that some can try and turn it into a negative. It's, you know, it is what it is. It's our attempt at some form of art. We do come under the umbrella.
Don't call it art.
Come on now.
We picked a category of comedy, which I think is not quite correct. We might need to adjust that.
You pick that if there's nothing else, because it was like but it's not movies, or is it? I mean, you know, what do you pick if it's you can pick miscellaneous, I guess.
Yeah.
That's
But that
probably
puts you in a real wide scope.
It's the heavyweights, like we picked a bad. But we could always change it.
Who
but-
cares, man? I don't give a fuck who I'm right next to, man. Who gives a shit, man? I'm surprised people are listening.
Yeah,
but
I am with your attitude. Sucks, mate. Fucking sucks. Look,
I
Didn't even sound happy about it. I'm surprised you're listening. Do something better with your life. Turn this off right now. Go help that child that's bleeding that the father's running away from. Just go do something good with your life.
If you're co-hosting with Josh for an extended period of time, believe me, you're going to hit this trajectory at some point. If you're going to wrap this up, I want to ask him about the couple of fight things.
Go on, yeah.
I just thought you were going to forget because you put your laptop down.
No, go on, you're on.
He did make that feel like that he's had enough,
we're
didn't he?
ending now, yeah.
that was. Do you know, like when
Sorry,
you do
mate.
parent?
He does that sometimes. So, yeah, well, I just thought like if we've got an MMA expert here, or somebody who's done commentary and presenting on MMA, we should ask about that husband bloke getting shinned in the face.
Oh yeah.
Just what your thoughts are on it.
That's that's the UK's second champion now, believe it or not, which is a
What, after
surprising
me?
fact.
Oh, you mean in MMA? I get it.
How do you feel that fight went down this weekend?
Do you know what? Leon Edwards has been around for so long, and the last fight he lost was against that guy, and he's had to work his way back up. And there's always been a thing with Leon Edwards where he's winning fights and he's getting traction, and then that traction disappears because he's not a big talker on the mic. He's not somebody that is the only controversial stuff has happened. It was with a guy called George Masvidal where he went up to him, Masvidal smacked him in the face. And
3-piece and soda.
I like that guy. I mean, I don't know him well enough, so I don't want to say I like him in case he's done bad shit. But he's the guy that did the flying knee thing on.
Yeah.
Ben Askren.
That bloke who knocked. He fought me in boxing. And he won a clown boxers.
Jake Paul. He fought
did he fight him?
Paul. Yeah.
Yeah, clown boxers. But he did the flying knee on him, didn't he?
Yeah, that's right.
guy,
So I can join in now.
That's the. Should we all hold hands? Seriously.
Sorry, go. What were you saying? George Masvidal, yeah.
Leon Edwards, he's had to earn that shot. He's fought his way back up there, and there's big fights around. So Conor McGregor is somebody everyone knows in mixed martial arts, and he's the biggest fight. He's the biggest payday, whether he's won or he's lost or whatever. So Usman was talking about him, talking about going up a weight class to fight for other belts. So you felt this was never going to happen, and then when they finally signed it, there's always that thing of it's got to get to the fight. You got all this camp, and it's usually like 4 or 5 months worth of promotion and training, and stuff happens. Like fights fall out fairly easy because it's a brutal camp, yet alone a brutal fight. But he to finish it like that, to finish it with that sort of emphatic way, that is for me. So, and he deserves it. It's great. And now we've got another UK. Champion.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of clips going around from his cornerman, so like his coaches, like
that's
spurring him on.
Inspirational, yeah.
It's nice to see, and less than a minute to go.
Yeah,
he pulls that out of the bag.
Was he losing the fight? He needed the
yeah,
knockout.
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah, we're losing. Big shin to the face. And he's never been knocked out like that on Usman, has he?
Never been knocked out like that. And the other thing is that will set up the payday. So when you become the champion, everything changes with your contract. You get pay-per-view points. You also get all the additional sponsors. You get it's massive. So the next payday he will get as the champion, he should earn. It should be the biggest payday of his life. But that will be a rematch, no doubt. Usman was the guy that everyone was saying was on the verge of pound for pound champion. So if he's just knocked him out and it took him to the last minute, losing the fight to do it, that'll be the rematch. Everything, the story there again will be massive, and then the hopefully the payday will be too.
That's pretty epic, isn't it?
I suppose that takes us neatly onto, it's not the same exact thing, but somebody that was losing the fight in the last round and needed a Hail Mary to win it. I'm coming out at Anthony Joshua here, which that just, I know it's boxing, but that just happened at the weekend. What was your take on that?
So,
I mean, he didn't win with a roundhouse kick would be illegal in boxing, but or whatever kind of kick it was. But he needed a win. He needed a knockout, and he basically was what
it would be great though if in boxing suddenly there was like a what do you call it, like a Powerball moment where like randomly throughout the fight suddenly weapons dropped in, or you were allowed to use certain things like different techniques. But it was like, I kind of feel for Joshua. First of all, he shouldn't have taken that fight out to Saudi Arabia. It should have been in the UK. When he does, and I get why he did. He got paid millions.
What is 75 million pounds each
to take it to? I don't know the exact numbers, but it's millions just to take it there for them to fight in Saudi Arabia, for them to take it and have it there. Yeah. So the money's there, but I think it should have been a fight in the UK. I think it would have been huge, absolutely massive. So I think that would have changed it. The crowd do affect fights as well. That dynamic. That
we were so quiet, like one part.
They're not pissed. They're not pissed. They're and it matters. And it's not like
that. I thought a good part about that was, since you're right, you could hear how normally you can't hear anything, can you? Apart from the crowd, you could hear how hard on some of the undercards they were getting hit, and I'm thinking, fuck, that sounds really. I mean, I know they hit hard, but like,
did you watch back in lockdown when Josh Warrington fought Lara on the first fight and he got knocked out bad? Like,
that was the one
we see that.
Yeah.
That was savage. And again, like, Warrington's a fighter for the fans, isn't he? Like he fills up Ellen Road and gets all the squad behind him, and then he got knocked out. And you watched it on pay-per-view, and you hear every shot. That was brutal. Yeah.
It's a crazy sport. All this stuff is mad. The highs and lows of combat sports is ridiculous. But Joshua took the fight, and then again he was doing all the build-up where he was saying, "I'm going to be vicious. I'm going to be an animal. I'm going to go back to the street type fighting that brought me up and through." And he just never got that gear going. There was one round where he put Usyk in trouble, which I think was like the 8th or the 9th, and then the next round Usyk came back really hard. But Usyk's great.
I love Usyk. I'm not going to lie.
Phenomenal.
I wanted him to win.
Yeah.
Might lose me some subs, and all that stuff. People are quite tribal about it, but he just seems wacky. I love that part we started. He broke out in the song, right? In the presser.
Yeah, great.
And he just seems like he's got some real humility about him as well, which I always love in athletes. If there's one thing that winds me up about people, is it's when they lose and they go on. Remember when David Hay did that thing? Said, "Oh, my toe's injured," and it's like, "Oh, come on now, man.
Come on."
Like, just take your medicine. Say you'll probably get another rematch if you wanted one. Like
Mike Tyson when he said I broke my back. Do you remember that?
Yeah, but I don't want to. He's one guy I don't want to antagonize. You never know. I might be on a plane with him one day.
That's right. He might turn around and do you over. That's it. But it's now ruined the Tyson fight, I think, because Tyson Fury is. I don't think he's going to come out of retirement.
He's a bellend as well, though. When he says I'm retired, right, and then he's like, as soon as the fight's on, he's all over fucking Twitter. He's saying first of all, he's saying like, I'm going for everyone today. He's saying like, I'm retired. You can't get me back. Then he's saying, I'll come back, but it's got to be on free to air TV for everyone. Now I'm paying £500 million. Like, now I'm retired again. Like, make your mind up, man. That's what I hate about boxing, and it seems less of a problem. I think it's why MMA is kind of on the grow so much, because it seems like they all really care about winning. That they're really hungry. Whereas in boxing, you get people like, I'm not dissing Mayweather or anything. I'm adding names to the hat here. But when they're talking about money all the time, I get that's a motivation. It's a hard way to earn a living, especially if you're a journeyman, right? And you're doing lots of fights, and you don't get those mega paydays. But when everything is about money, and then you can see them avoiding each other just so they can get a bigger payday when maybe they come together at the end. It's like, you couldn't imagine someone like Mike Tyson doing that. I think he would have fought like anyone for a fucking corned beef sandwich. You know what I mean? Like I just. Yeah, and that's what I hate about it. I feel like everyone wanted to see that, didn't they? The Fury AJ thing way back when. And if money's not an object, and it's not to these promoters and stuff, just do it,
But they've got horses in different camps. So what you basically the difference between boxing and MMA. Boxing, they've got so many different belts. So you have like Usyk has now 5 heavyweight belts, and they're all under different promotions, different promoters, and it's the bad bit about boxing is the fight you want. It might not be the fighters that don't make the fight happen. It's the two promoters. It's the business side of it. It's whatever deals go on behind the closed doors. So it's infuriating, and that's no pun intended. But the biggest British fight that could have happened, and it would have been 2 years ago, would be AJ versus Fury, and it should have just been on the table. Battle of Britain, boom.
I like the name for the last one. What was it? Rage on the Red Sea. I didn't like it. I'm just being ironic. It was like really shit. I thought Rage on the Red Sea.
Someone got paid to think of that.
I know.
Somebody
in the corporate office tied to
yeah.
oh, fuck, what we're going to call this one again?
It's not like Rumble in the Jungle. You get that, Thriller in Manila, Rage on the Red Sea.
Yeah.
No, Stephen. Put the idea back in the box. I don't know why the poor marketing guy's called Stephen in my head, but
Bryan, let's wrap this up then. So where can people find you if any of our 4 listeners want to find you on social media?
You can get us on at Bryan, that's Bryan with a Y, Lacey MMA. You can check out the Oktagon Hype show that we're doing for Oktagon. If you want to look at what Oktagon are doing across Europe now, that's on their Oktagon MMA Europe, UK and Ireland channel. And yeah, those sort of spots, mate.
Do we get some free tickets? The next big one?
Yes.
Oh, cool. I like that.
That'd be sick, wouldn't
Without a doubt, no, seriously, because I want to get, like, we've talked about it. You've seen the shows, we talk about it now. I want to get people to see, and we want to bring shows over to the UK. So when they do, front and centre, there will be a hairy chair waiting for you, my friend.
Great.
It is actually unbelievable when you look at the production and it's like beyond UFC. I'm like, fucking hell, compared to, especially like British promotions, like the smaller, you can't even compare.
Not even close.
No,
not even close.
Right, mate. Let's call it a draw.
Really enjoyed that one, man. Thanks for coming on.
Mate.
Really appreciate it.
Mate. Appreciate it. That was a nice one. There we go. And a fist bump.
Cheers,
I don't like to be too. People that have got wet handshakes. I don't want to. I don't know my own strength. Sometimes I might crush your hand. You never know.
Fuck off. Snap you in half. Right, catch you on the next one. Peace.